So today we'll be getting into the Sonya vs. Naomi story, Roman Reigns, the women's division, and much more. SmackDown really gave us a lot to discuss, so let's go over the latest from that show. Let's start off with a women's division update. Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks met in the ring for the first time in well over 2 years. It was a great match containing one half of the 4 horsewomen, and SmackDown even went commercial free during that match, so it was non-stop action. The finish of the match saw Bianca Belair getting involved to cost Becky Lynch the match against Sasha Banks. It is a weird spot for Bianca Belair since her character technically isn't on good terms with either Becky or Sasha, but it looks like Bianca sees Sasha sort of like the lesser of two evils, so she decided to cost Becky the match. Yeah, Sasha turned on Bianca multiple times this year, but what Becky Lynch did to Bianca was way more dirty than what Sasha did. Plus, the fact that Bianca and Becky are both moving to Raw together, it makes sense to keep something going between Becky and Bianca since that could be continued on Raw. Of course, next Friday starts the official beginning of the new era for SmackDown and Raw. Talent are no longer able to appear on both shows and will become exclusive to their respected brands that they were drafted to. There's still one issue hanging over the women's division, and that's the fact that the titles are still on opposite brands. Well, there's 2 women's titles this week that could potentially fix these issues. WWE has announced that Charlotte Flair vs. Bianca Belair for the Raw Women's title will be taking place this week on Raw. Charlotte could retain here, but there's also a chance that Bianca Belair could win the title here, and since Bianca is now a Raw superstar, she would bring the title back to Raw and save it from going over to SmackDown. So Bianca Belair wins the Raw title to keep it on Raw and sends Charlotte off to SmackDown without the Raw title. That seems like a possibility right there for sure. Then, 3 days later, we have the triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship, and same thing here as well. This presents a chance to fix the title issue. Bianca and Becky are now Raw superstars, and Sasha Banks is the only SmackDown superstar in this match. A logical outcome here is for Sasha Banks to win Becky's title and bring it back to SmackDown. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch will continue their feud over the Raw title, and we could potentially see Sasha Banks vs. Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown title. Of course, none of this is confirmed, it's just speculation based on those title matches that they have announced for this week. Bianca and Sasha winning the title matches would clear up the title issues, but maybe that's a bit predictable. Maybe WWE does take another surprising route. We'll have to see how they plan to fix the title issues for the women's division. Speaking of the women's division, we finally had some big progression in the Naomi vs. Sonya Deville storyline on SmackDown. It was announced last week that Naomi vs. Sonya Deville would happen this week on the supersized edition of SmackDown. But of course, that was too easy. No way Sonya was just gonna give Naomi what she wants like that. And that turned out to be true. Sonya used her management powers to turn their one-on-one match into a handicap 2-on-1 match. Sonya brought out Shayna Baszler to be her tag team partner and help her with Naomi. Naomi fought her hard out, but in the end, the numbers advantage always ends up winning. Shayna really serves as the enforcer here. She does the heavy lifting while Sonya keeps her hands clean for the most part. Sonya puts her foot down over Naomi and stands on top of her for the 3 count. Sonya is thinking this is all over now. There was even a video after the match where Sonya said, "Don't try me." So she's really showboating here with what she did and thinks that Naomi issue is done and over with. Obviously, we the audience know that that's not true at all. If anything, this was actually just the real beginning of the story. Adam Pearce tweeted out during the match the word "unbelievable," obviously in reference to Sonya's abuse of power. Naomi was supposed to get a fair chance to showcase what she had to offer, but that was impossible to do in a 2-on-1 match. Obviously, these mind games from Sonya will continue until we finally get Sonya vs. Naomi fair and square. But there's also two possible subplots, sub-stories, that could happen here as well. One story being that this could all cost Sonya her WWE official position. WWE officials are supposed to be fair for the most part. Yes, we've seen heel WWE officials in the past, but how does their stories always end? It always ends with them taking their powers too far and they get fired. So maybe we're at that power trip arc right now for Sonya Deville. What she's doing right now will end up costing her the position in the near future, and maybe that will be the stakes for their actual one-on-one match. You can put a lot on the line in this non-title feud. Something like if Naomi loses, she's banished from SmackDown. But if Naomi wins, Sonya Deville loses her WWE official position. And that's how we would get to the official point of Sonya losing that role and returning full-time to the ring. The second sub-story would be the Bloodline stepping in and getting involved. Like Paul Heyman said in a recent interview, just because you don't see the Bloodline talking about something doesn't mean that they don't have their eyes on something. They have their eyes on everything related to SmackDown. So how would Roman and Naomi's husband, Jimmy, feel about this abuse of power from Sonya? Is it something that makes them call for Sonya's job? That's another possible side story as well. It's just a really great story right now and proof that you can have a great feud in the women's division with no title on the line at all. But it's a great story. Obviously, it's doing a great job of building Naomi as the underdog babyface going up against the abusive boss. So it's going to make more and more fans get behind Naomi. So it'll be great to see how this story continues to progress over on SmackDown. In the final segment between Brock and Roman ahead of their title match at Crown Jewel, we saw a contract signing. To its credit, this contract signing didn't end with the usual big brawl or anything like that. Instead, this contract signing used dialogue and mind games to further the story. Roman has Paul Heyman deeply look over the entire contract before putting his signature on it, and Heyman tells him that it's all good and everything he's asked for. So Roman signs it. Brock has his feet up on the table, grabs the contract, and signs it without even looking over the contract at all. Roman calls him out for being dumb and not looking it over, but Brock is laughing and said that he already looked it over this morning with his advocate Paul Heyman. Brock gets the last laugh and leaves Roman alone in the ring with Paul Heyman, and once again leaves Roman confused with how to feel about Paul Heyman. Roman usually has this psychological advantage in a majority of his matchups, but you can't give that to Roman here in this feud. Brock has absolutely destroyed him when it comes to those mind games. And Brock Lesnar could be completely lying about working with Paul Heyman behind the scenes, but what keeps this story so intriguing is that we have no clue if Brock is lying or not. That's why the audience and Roman are basically in the same shoes, because we don't know what Heyman is up to. Brock could be lying, but he could be very well telling the truth as well. That's what keeps us on the edge of our seats here. But we should finally get an answer on if Brock is lying or not at Crown Jewel. Maybe something happens there that gives us a definite answer on that. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.